Let's consider a professional ethical issue that arises on Wall Street. This is the issue of corporate takeovers. It is a social value that markets work efficiently, but job security and long-term investment also are social values. These are necessary for the continued operation of a successful economy. Companies that retain earnings or cash reserves are ripe for takeover by those who would use those funds to buy the target company. Many professionals are required to successfully complete a leveraged buyout. Accountants, both inside and outside, lawyers for both sides, financial professionals, securities professionals, insurance company investment professionals, government regulators, elected officials, and many other professionals who are also investors. The fees generated by taking over the company make the effort worthwhile for those paid to complete the takeover. But what are the ethical considerations? What of the weakened company, which, like many leveraged companies, fall into bankruptcy and lay off great numbers of workers? What of the society that loses a strong company or long-term investments? What of the professionals involved? Should they pursue their own income opportunities? What are the consequences of the professional activity for each professional involved? What's the consequences for our society? We will discuss these issues and many more throughout this course. Our purpose in doing ethical analysis is to provide to the decision maker a clearer picture of the ethically important elements of the decision. Whether one is personally persuaded by religious or philosophical ethical beliefs, the decisions made will be improved by comprehensive and thorough application of the analytical frameworks. Most philosophers agree on a great majority of decisions, even though they may disagree on why. For most professionals, our analysis will suffice to clarify important issues in their lives. For those desiring more, and a more thorough and considered discussion of the finer points of ethical theory, the literature and philosophy over the last 2,500 years is highly recommended. Our goal is not to preach answers, but teach moral analysis. The ethical frameworks will help us recognize ethical issues as they are conflicts in values, consequences, or rights. It is often said that once the problem is seen, it is half resolved. There is a difference in coming to an ethical decision and in justifying what one has already done. One is the logic of ethical discovery, and the other is the logic of ethical justification. When professionals consider what to do, they are looking into an uncertain future, not fully understanding the present situation and not being sure of what has happened in the past. Making a decision often will be criticized because the professional failed to know something, or because the critic has different values or is brought up in different ways with different habits, or the consequences did not occur as planned, or the critic believes a different right should be respected in this particular situation. An ethical decision has two aspects, both different. One looking forward towards the future, the other looking backwards after the fact. It is often clear what we should have done, but it is not always clear what we should do. The logic of ethical discovery is a creative process of solving one of life's tough puzzles. The logic of ethical justification requires one to make clear the moral reasons that permitted your behavior. The ethical professional must be equipped to both discover ethical pathways and point out ethical paths traveled. Professional ethics is more than staying out of jail or finding the cause on which to file a lawsuit. It affects all of society. When professionals fail to serve their clients, society suffers. When the society is harmed, it often lashes out at the professionals. Who should watch over the professionals? This was a question that Socrates asked. Should we leave the professionals to govern themselves, or should society exert control over professionals? This is a question as old as Western civilization itself. In this series, we examine many cases where professionals and societies have clashed. We will use our analytical tools to do more than simply lay blame. Rather than generate heat, let's create light, where reasoned discussion of our most important issues can take place. Let's create an atmosphere where both society and the professions will not be forced to share Socrates' poisoned drink.